Hey everybody, Yankee here. I have talked in my live chat recently how I think my son is developing a little bit of a problem with guns. I think he's got a little bit of an addiction forming, and I don't think he's got a lot of self control. Since he turned 18, he's decided he's going to start building up his rifle collection, so he's been spending a lot of his salary. What he doesn't spend on his car, which he hasn't been able to spend a lot on it lately because it's been in the shop waiting for me to pay for the engine to be rebuilt. So he's been spending it on rifles. He's trying to build up his collection. I think he's got 5 now. And he went the other day to pick up something he had on layaway. He had a Ruger. I think it's the American Predator is what he had. It's the 308 model in the green with the black barrel. And he went to pick that up and the scope that he had bought. And he said, I'm just going to pick these up and that's it. I'm done buying guns for a while. And I was like, cool, because you're not saving any money. You're spending all your money on car and guns. And he comes back and I said something to him about, did you pick up your gun? He said, yes. And then he said something about, can I have some money to go do this? Or money for gas for the truck. That's what it was. And I said, well, don't you have money? And he's like, well, I just put a shotgun on layaway. So he went to pick up the other gun, and when he said, I'm just going to pick this up, not picking up anything else, I guess he thought that meant, well, as long as I'm not picking up the shotgun today, I don't have to mention that I bought a shotgun. So I think he's got an addiction issue here, and I think he's got very little self-control. But that's not what I want to talk about today, because I've already mentioned that. I've already established that in my live chats, mentioned it multiple times. What I want to talk about today is he has now officially been christened. He had his first accident at the range, where he actually drew blood. I think we've all had our little accidents at the range. I've got scars all over my hands, and I've got pock scars on my face from a poorly timed revolver that my uncle thought was a good idea to shoot right in front of my face. So we've all had our little accidents. Well, he took his Predator, because we've been snowed in up here, iced in, and no water, nothing like that, no electricity half the time. So he's been staying down with a friend. Well, him and his friend decided they wanted to go to the English pit and go shooting. So he called me and said, how much does the English pit cost? Do they sell targets? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes, they do. So he said, can I have some money to go to the English pit? So I put money on his account and he went to the English pit. Well, he texted me back like not even an hour later, and he's back at his friend's house. And I'm like, well, that didn't take long at the English pit. And he said, well, I had a little accident. Turned out he went to shoot his rifle, his 308, for the first time with a scope. And it's the first gun he's ever owned with a scope that he bought. And like a lot of people, the first time they shoot a rifle with a scope, he made the mistake of getting a little too close to it. So he sent me a picture with a gash on his forehead, which he said it finally stopped bleeding, but it was bleeding like crazy at first, which head injuries tend to do. And he asked me, what did I think? Does it just need a Band-Aid? Should he try to glue it shut? What? And I was like, no, you should go to the urgent care because that's probably going to need stitches. So he went and they said, yes, probably have about 3 stitches in it, or he could just have butterfly bandages, whichever he preferred. I told him to get stitches when I sent him there, but he decided that he would just get the bandages because, he didn't want to get stitches because I think he was afraid it would hurt. But after I thought about it, I think he wants a scar is the other thing. Because I told him if you get the stitches, it won't scar as bad. If you don't get the stitches, it'll scar a little bit. Luckily, he's ugly. He's ugly as a mule's ass, so it doesn't matter if he gets a scar on his face. But still, you don't want anything else. I guess maybe in his case, maybe just make him interesting at least. But he chose the bandages. But I think that's a common mistake a lot of people make when they go first shoot a scoped rifle. They get too close to it. And he did that. I wasn't there because, like I said, we were snowed in up here, iced in, and he was down at friends, so he went by himself. So I applaud the initiative of going on his own with his friend. But since I wasn't there to say, here's where you mount it, because I also think he mounted it a little bit too far back, which is a common mistake with a lot of people too. They think you got to get up to the scope. They don't realize that they're designed for a certain amount of distance between your eye and the back of the scope. So I think he mounted the scope a little far back, and I think he got a little close to it. But he has now initiated himself with blood into the Gun Lovers Club. So I think he's going to have a long history of being a pro-gun person and a gun lover, and I think he's going to appreciate firearms. But he did it in a really kind of stupid way. And like I said, I do think he has a little bit of a problem, but who doesn't? So I just wanted to share that little story with everyone because why not? Oh, and before I go here, before anyone gets mad saying, oh, he's picking on his kid, he actually is the one that told me, hey, Feel free to embarrass me on your channel if you want to, because I did something stupid. So at least he owned his mistake, and he gave me permission to embarrass him, and never let it be said that I pass up any chance to embarrass one of my sons.